Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome. It's so nice to see so many kids here today. Wow. I welcome the new families here that came for the baby naming and everyone else, of course. Tonight we mark the 27th night of the Omer. Tomorrow it will be 27th, but we always start in the night. We are more than halfway on our spiritual journey toward Shavuot. So we have to think about it. And since we're talking about spiritual journey, we will begin with a song, Yedid Nefesh, which means the friend of the soul, that was written in the 16th century. And it speaks of the intense love and yearning between the human soul and its godly source. The words can be found either on page 159 or 742 if you need transliteration. And if you look at 159, you'll see the four stanzas. The first letter in each stanza creates the four letters of the name of God, the Yud Hey Vav Hey. So, Yedid Nefesh. Yeah.
Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman, Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman, Meshoch Avdecha, Eretz Anecha, Meshoch Avdecha, Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Eyal Yishtachaveh El Mulchadarecha.
We turn to page 176. I would like to ask Emily to come forward and light the Shabbat candles for us. Yeah, read the English and then light the candles. Okay.
I know.
Not you, Emily. I know. Now we have two. Right.
These lights are only flickering flames, yet flames illume our uncertain steps. Flames purify and renew, soften and refine. They brighten and make warm. Flames remind us of Sabbaths long past and of their beauty that delighted our hearts. May they inspire us to work for the great Sabbath of peace.
She can come
come
here.
on.
She can come here. Okay. Together, Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו, וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. Amen. Thank you. We continue on 177. Lord, who may abide in your house? Who may dwell in your holy mountain? Together?
Those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts,
Who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them.
who scorn the lawless, but honor those who revere the Lord.
Who give their word and come what may, do not retract. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. Days when we seek for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain.
On the Sabbath, we seek not to acquire, but to share.
There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On the Sabbath, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we care nothing for the rights of others.
On the Sabbath, we are reminded that justice is our duty and a better world our goal.
Therefore, we welcome Shabbat. Talking about peace, we'll continue with the song Shalom Aleichem, peace on you, unto you. If you need transliteration, 735.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים. הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא, בואכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. וכוני לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
179. The synagogue is the sanctuary of Israel, born of Israel's longing for God. Throughout our wandering, it has endured as a stronghold of hope and inspiration, teaching us the holiness of life and inspiring in us a love of all humanity. Come then, all who are children of Israel, all who strive for righteousness, all who seek to do the will of God, let us affirm our faith. I would like Owen to come forward and lead us in the service. And we continue on 179, but if you need transliteration, 766. The Reader's Kaddish. Just loud, please.
Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabban.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra shutei v'yamlich malhutei.
בחייכנו ביום אחד, ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן.
Shemei Rabban mevorach. Le'alamu amei omaya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. V'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yinaseh. V'yithadar v'yidaleh. V'yitalal. Shemei dekudashah.
בריחו
אלא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה.
תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירה בעלמה, ואמרו אמן.
Before we continue, for our guest, when we read Hebrew, you can read the English translation underneath, so you won't get lost. Please rise. We are on 180.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך,
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר
בדברו מעריב ערבי. O God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing, yet you are farther than the farthermost star. You are mysterious as the vast solitude of night, yet as familiar to us as the light of the sun. To Moses you said, "You cannot see my face, but I will make all my goodness pass before you." Even so does your goodness pass before us in the realm of nature and in the joys and sorrow of life. Together, 181, when justice burns. You can read with them. We demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness when your goodness enters our lives and we can begin to change the world. And then you live within our hearts, and we, through righteousness, behold your presence.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Abed.
Please be seated. We continue with the Ve'ahavta. Again, if you want to join us with transliteration, 767, 768. Just like.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לכותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם באמת. In the middle of 182, I, the Eternal, have called you to righteousness and taken you by the hand and kept you. I have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations.
We are Israel, witness to the covenant between God and his children.
This is the covenant I make with Israel. I will place my Torah in your midst and write it upon your hearts. I will be your God, and you will be my people.
We are Israel. Our Torah forbids the worship of race or nation, possessions or power.
You who worship gods that cannot save you, hear the words of the Eternal. I am God, there is none else.
We are Israel. Our prophets proclaim an exalted vision for the world.
Hate evil and love what is good. Let justice swell up as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream.
We are Israel, schooled in the suffering of the oppressed.
You shall not oppress your neighbor, nor rob them. You shall not stand idly by while your brother bleeds.
We are Israel, taught to beat swords into plowshares, commanded to pursue peace.
Violence shall no longer be heard in your land, desolation and destruction within your borders. All your children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of your children.
We are Israel, God, when we are witness to your will and messengers of your truth.
You are my witnesses, said the Eternal, and my servant whom I have chosen. Know me therefore, and put your trust in me.
Yeah. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehdav kodesh, Norati lo o sefer, Norati lo sefer. Malachutecha ra'u vonecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe, Nazeli anu v'yamu.
Adonai lo le'olam va'ed. Adonai lo le'olam va'ed. We continue in the middle of 184, and after that Elizabeth will come. Cause us, our Creator, to lie down in peace, and raise us up, O sovereign God, to renewed life and peace. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and be our shield of mercy and of peace. Blessed is the Lord, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all his people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Baruch atah Adonai haporez sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol ha'amor. Yerushalayim, Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporez sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
Thank you. Next song, Camille will sing for us, Veshamru, a song that talks about the covenant between God and Israel to keep the Sabbath as a holy day. And Michael too.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue on 169, and if you need transliteration, 769, and I ask you to please write, if you can. 169, we're going back. Yes. Ready? Now. Yeah.
Adonai,
Sefatai tiftach u'fia b'tehillatcha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Ha'el Hagadol, Ha'dibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot, U'mevii Geulah Livnei B'neihem, V'leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Mogen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham.
Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai,
Mechaye hakol, Atarav le'Hoshia.
Mechalkel
Chayim
bechesed, Mechaye hakol
Verachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim. U'matir asurim.
U'mekayem emunato, Lishenei achar. Mi chamocha ba'al geburot, U'midom elam, Melech memit u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua. Ne'eman ha'talech ha'chayot ha'kol,
Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom,
Yehallelucha Selah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Days passed and the years vanished, and we walked sightless among miracles. Lord, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk.
Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed.
And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder.
How filled with awe in this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God.
Please be seated. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. We continue on 171. Those who keep the Sabbath and call it a delight shall rejoice in your kingdom. All who hallow the seventh day shall be gladdened by your goodness. This day is Israel's festival of the Spirit, sanctified and blessed by you, the most precious of days, a symbol of the joys of creation. אתה אחד ושמך אחד, ומי כעמך ישראל, גוי אחד בארץ. Together, you are one, your name is one, and there is none like your people Israel, a people unique on the earth. A garland of glory have you given us, a crown of salvation, a day of rest and holiness. Abraham rejoiced in it, Isaac sang, Jacob and his children were refreshed by its rest. In this rest are love and sharing, truth and faithfulness and peace, quiet and safety. It is the perfect rest that you have willed. May your children come to understand that this Sabbath rest links them to you, and that by it they may hallow your name. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל. O God enthroned by Israel's praise, O God, my hope, For you alone my soul waits in silence. By day extend your steadfast love, and at night I shall sing to you a prayer to the God of my life. Blessed is the Lord, who day by day upholds me, the God who is my help. Together, eternal God, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, and awareness of the soul, our light within, the world around us so filled with beauty, and the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these gifts and more, we thank and bless you, the source of all goodness. We continue with Shalom Rav on 173. Want me to sing? Okay.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We bless God, the God of peace, the Lord of peace. Please take a moment of silent prayer. Emily, you can let her. It's okay. It's okay.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן.
We now turn to the Torah. This week, if you open in the middle of the Torah, you'll get to our Torah portion, although it's a double portion this week, but we're going to read from Parashat Kedoshim, the Holiness Code, which we also read on Yom Kippur, and it's in the heart of the Torah. I would like Vivian to come help me, please, with the Torah. And we turn to page 417.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך, מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, Adonai
Avarachamim, Heitiva betzoncha et Zion. Tibnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tibnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki becha levad batachnu, melech elam v'nisa Adon olamim.
Abugod Eloheinu utnu chavod laTorah. Let us declare the greatness of God and give honor to the Torah.
Ki mitzion tetze Torah, Ki mitzion tetze Torah, Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kdushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shmo, Gadol Adonai Mitzi, Unerolema Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Ha'gebura, Ve'hatiferet, Ve'hanetzach, Ve'hahod, Ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Lecha Adonai hamamlaka, Ve'ani na'aseh lechol erosh, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu le'hakadsho, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu le'hakadsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. So as I said, today we'll read from the Holiness Code, and I'll just offer a few verses. But for the Aliyah, I would like to ask Anne to come forward. תעמוד אסנת בת דוב לכבוד התורה. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Adonai Hambarak Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu Le'Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, and God spoke to Moses saying, דבר אל כל עדת בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, קדושים תהיו, כי קדוש אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Talk to the entire community of the people of Israel and say to them, you should be holy because I am God, your God is holy. Ish imo ve'aviv tira'u. Everyone has to fear his mother or father. Do you hear me, Ophelia? It's interesting because in the Ten Commandments we say respect or honor your mother and your father and your mother. Here is fear your mother and your father. Ve'et shabtotai tishmoru, and make sure you keep my Sabbath. Ani Adonai Elohechem. I am God, your God. I'm skipping a little bit. לא תגנובו ולא תכחשו ולא תשקרו איש בעמיתו ולא תשבעו בשמי לשקר וחיללת את שם אדוני אלוהיך אני אדוני. So it said, do not steal, do not lie, do not swear falsely in my name, because you will desecrate my name. I am God. לא תעשוק את רעך ולא תגזול, לא תלין פעולת שכיר איתך עד בוקר. So don't take advantage of your neighbor, and do not keep their salary with you until morning. It's very important. The Torah talks that you have to pay their salary on time. לא תקלל חירש, do not curse the deaf, ולפני עיוור לא תיתן מכשול, and in front of a blind person do not put a stumbling block. Okay? ויראת מאלוהיך אני אדוני. You should fear God. I am God.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emes v'hayei olam notat v'chochenu.
Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Thank you, Bob. Please rise.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני אמר משה.
Phil. Okay. Thank you. Please be seated. So the Haftarah is taken from the book of Amos, and Amos was chosen for the Haftarah because he deals with ethical expectations of the kingdom and the priest and what Israel meant to be. Amos grew up in Tekoa, a little village near Jerusalem, in the middle of the 8th century before the Common Era. And later he moved to the northern part of Israel when he received a call from God challenging him to preach in the northern kingdom, to condemn the immoral practices of the leadership. He was literal prophet. He was the first among all of them. So his speeches made a huge impression on the people. His primary messages were about social justice, immoral practices, corruption, religious rights that had nothing to do with the God of Israel. And although God will punish Israel, he said, for that, after the punishment will come a glorious reversal and restoration. And first, I want to read a little bit of the English before I read the Hebrew. Okay, before I go to the Hebrew. A time is coming, declared the Lord, when the plowman shall meet the reaper, and the treader of grapes, him who holds the bag of seeds, when the mountains shall drip wine, and all the hills shall wave with grain. I will restore my people Israel. They shall rebuild ruined cities and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and drink their wine. They shall till gardens and eat their fruits. And I will plant them upon their soil. nevermore to be uprooted from the soil I have given them, said the Lord your God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha בנביאים טובים ורצה בדבריהם הנאמרים באמת. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בתורה ובמשה עבדו ובישראל עמו ובנביאי האמת וצדק. אמן. הנה ימים באים נאום אדוני וניגש חורש בקוצר ודורך ענבים במשה חזרה והטיפו ההרים עסיס וכל הגבעות תתמוגגנה ושבתי את שבות עמי ישראל ובנו ערים נשמות וישבו ונטעו כרמים ושתו את יינם ועשו גנות ואכלו את פריהם ונטעתים על אדמתם ולא ינטשו עוד מעל אדמתם אשר נתתי להם, אמר אדוני אלוהיך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. We'll continue in the Sheberach, a prayer for healing. It's our tradition as a congregation to offer prayers for those who need a prayer. So if you have anyone in mind, please let me know. Mm-hmm.
Linda Robb.
I have a few more. Buzz Eisenberg, Jacob Masuda, Audrey Baker, Terry Kreloff, Marshall Geiselman, Beth Goldman, and Jill and Dave, I will pray for you too. You're here. Lorna Fotino, who else? Rabbi Morley Feinstein, Sue Heisler, I hope you'll find Sylvia Abramson, and we pray for all of them, and Ben Plotkin. Yeah.
Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So tonight we have a very happy occasion, and I would like Emily and Robert and Ophelia to come here. I hope she won't run away from here. Hi. Hello. Yes. Hi, sweetie. You gonna behave? Okay, Brucha haba b'shem Adonai. Blessed is she who comes here in God's name. We rejoice, child has come to the world, and we rejoice as we welcome this child into the brit, the covenant between God and the Jewish people. It's okay. When the people of Israel stood at Mount Sinai, ready to enter into the brit, God addresses these words to Moses. Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. Our rabbis taught the house of Jacob refers to the women of Israel. The children of Israel refers to the men. May we, like all the men and women at Sinai, obey the commandment of God. You shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, a holy people. Well, that's it.
Don't mind me.
When Israel stood at Sinai to receive the Torah, the Holy One said, present to me good guarantors that you will guard my Torah, and then I shall give it to you. That's okay, you pay attention to me. At least someone should. And they said, our ancestors are our guarantors. The Holy One said, your ancestors are not sufficient guarantors. Bring me better guarantors, and I shall give you the Torah. They said, ruler of the universe, our prophets are our guarantors. God said to them, the prophets are not sufficient guarantors, yet bring me better guarantors, and I shall give you the Torah. They said, our children will be our guarantors. And God said, they are certainly good guarantors. For their sake, I give you the Torah. For the mystery of creation, for Torah and mitzvot, for companionship and love, for the warmth of family, for the joy of the sacred privilege of parenthood,
we joyfully bring our daughter into the covenant of Israel.
God remembers the covenant forever, the word commanded to the 1,000 generations. We praise you, O God, who establishes the covenant.
We praise you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to bring our daughter into the covenant of our people, Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להכניסה בברית עם ישראל. I'm just afraid she's going to fall.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid. Oops. Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, our God, God of our mothers and our fathers, sustain this child who's running away from here through her parents' loving care. Let her be known among our people Israel by the name Ruth, right?
Oh, nice.
May her name be a source of joy to her and inspire her to serve our people and all humankind. May her parents rejoice in her growth of body and soul. As they have brought her into the covenant, so may they, with wisdom and patience, lead her to study Torah, to a life of good deeds, and to a marriage worthy of God's blessing. And let us say, Amen. So, you named her Ruth, and please explain why you chose the word the name Ruth for her.
So we decided to go with Ruth, named after her great-grandmother. And I've always admired the commitment to family and the loyalty exhibited by Ruth.
She's not that.
Here, take this. Come here. Come here. Okay, thank you. Oh my goodness.
It's a little easier when they're younger.
Right. So, okay. So we gathered here today to celebrate the birth, although it was a little while ago, of Ophelia, and give her a Hebrew name. And the name they chose was Ruth, right? It is a tradition for Jews who live outside of Israel to have double naming. They also get the Hebrew name because that is what links them to the Jewish people and to the covenant with God. As you know, we do not come into the world with a little name tag attached to our wrist. Before we are born, our parents have already begun to think about choosing a name for us, and we learn very quickly to respond to the name or to some variation of it. Only later do we begin to wonder why our parents chose that particular name for us. According to the Jewish teachings, every person has three names: the name given by the parents, the name assigned by others, and the name that we make for ourselves. And the name we make for ourselves is the most important of all. Reputation, the name we will be remembered by when we leave this world, is better than fine oil, says the Talmud. So may she brings you joy and pride as you watch her grow and become a good person, a good Jew. Sweetheart, you need to come here. מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא יברך את הילדה הרכה הזאת. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless this infant. May her father and mother have the privilege of raising her, educating her, and encouraging her to attain wisdom. May her hands and her heart be faithful in serving God, and let us all say, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. So give her a little bit on her lips, or see if she can drink. Ooh.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Grape juice.
Just be careful with it.
It's juice.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think she
You
gets
can
it.
hold it. That's right.
She's like, oh, that's pretty good.
So, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. We praise you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has given us life, sustained us, and brought us to this joyous time. Thank you. And now we are supposed to bless her, so would you hold her, please? Okay, sweetheart. Yeah, ready?
Go ahead. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויקונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום, שלום. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his light upon you. May the Lord show you favor and grant you peace. And grant you peace.
Wonderful.
Good
Elizabeth,
job.
our next president. Well, okay, we got your gift already. That's fine.
Do you want that from the temple Israel? Here is your certificate.
Okay, thank you. We'll make it short. That's okay. That's
You
okay.
want that back? Okay. That's okay. I know I'm a pretty lady.
She didn't like our song?
You know, we'll always remember that it's all recorded. We now turn to page 423. Please rise.
הודו על ארץ בשמיים, וירן קרן ליעמו, תהילה לכל הסירה, לבני ישראל עמכו.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
4:24. The Torah of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul.
The teaching of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
The precepts of the Lord are right, delighting the mind.
The mitzvah of the Lord is clear, giving light to the eyes.
The word of the Lord is pure, enduring forever.
The judgments of the Lord are true and altogether just.
Behold, the good doctrine has been given you, my Torah. Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Together,
Help us to return to you, O Lord, then truly shall we return. Renew our days as in the past. Etz Chaim hi, lama chazikim ba, v'tom rea meyushan, terachea, dachei noam, v'chol netivoteha, Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai, Elecha v'nashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu,
please be seated. Thank you. So tonight I want to talk about treating the blind. That's one of the verses that I read. For many of us, when we see a blind person trying to cross a busy street, we rush to offer our help. Sometimes they accept our offer with gratitude, but sometimes they're too proud to need help, and instead they use their stick and other senses. And when we see a blind person walking in the street, trying to maneuver his way or her way, we pause and follow that person with our eyes open and our hearts open, and hope that nothing bad will happen to them so they won't stumble or fall. For us, it is just an instinct. We don't need a commandment to do so. But our Torah portion, which is packed with a variety of mitzvot or commandments, includes this surprising mitzvah. Commandment. Mitzvah is a commandment. You shall not place a stumbling block before blind, for I am Adonai your